There are only two things that I often need repeated: instructions on how to remove a burrito stain from a tuxedo, and extended guitar chords that I can practice over. So today we're going to do some loop exercises. I'm going to be using the Ortega Quantum Loop pedal because it is made of wood and I'm classy, and also this D'Angelico Deluxe Atlantic guitar. And we're just going to lay down a loop of some extended chords and talk about some ways you can practice over them. All right. So first of all, an extended chord that we're going to use is going to be G major 7. Okay, so pointer finger on the G, 3rd fret on the low E string. Ring finger is going to be the 4th fret on the D string. Pinky, 4th fret on the G string. Middle finger, 3rd fret on the B string, right? So we're going to do something kind of slow and rhythmic. It's going to sound like this. Okay, so now before I loop this, I want to talk about what we're going to do. A lot of times, and a lot of questions, I get is like, okay, well, I have a looper pedal, but I don't really know what to practice. So this is kind of a good way to force yourself into practicing new things by taking some of these chord tones, some of the notes that are in this chord, finding them on different spots of the neck, and then eventually we'll build up into different progressions that you can use for this, all right? So over this G major 7 chord, we're going to do what's becoming the Sean Daniel lick, all right? Sounds like this. And we're going to do this in a couple different spots. All right, now I've done a couple videos on this. I don't know if this is a Sean Daniel lick, but it's something that I'm using more and more, so I'm just going to take complete ownership over it because that's how I do it, right? So G, B, and a D make up a G major, right? So G, B, D. At its most simple, we have the 3rd fret on the E string, 5 to 7 slide on the E string, and then to the 5th fret on the A string. So this right here is just kind of like a single note way to play a G major chord, right? But the next step beyond that is going to go to the octave G, 5th fret on the D string, back to the 4th fret, and then 5th fret A string, slide back. So, all right, now if we just kind of start experimenting with that over this loop, like we can just make a real quick G major 7 loop. All right, so we have that kind of going, right? And then we can start adding that lick over it. And what it's doing is it's finding those notes in the loop. And you can do it at any speed you want. You can kind of do it fast, like that, or slow it down. Like that. And the cool thing about this is we can take it into a higher octave over the same backing track. And that would look like this. Alright, now it's pretty much the exact same shape, but let me actually stop this. So the next octave of this would be really the exact same thing, starting on the octave G, the 5th fret on the D string, 5, 7, 9, 7 G, and then now remember we're going to that B string, which is offset 1. So now we're going to hit this fret right here on the B string, the 8th fret, the 7th fret. So now we're kind of mirroring an octave higher on this lick, the lower octave. And then we can jump right into the next. Like that, all right? So then when you kind of play it with the... just kind of take any of those single notes along this line and then just play them over that track. Now that is like a really kind of rudimentary, simple way to loop just one chord. I think there's a lot more value in looping a progression because that's more of like a real world application of how these kind of things work. So let's do 2 of the same chord and then talk about how to maybe start like combining them together. So let me quick just erase this loop, and now we're going to add another chord into the equation. So why not do the same thing over a C major 7, all right? So again, I'll slow it down, it'll be the same kind of thing. And again, I'll loop it real quick. G major 7 into a C. Okay, so now we have that kind of going over and over again. And then eventually your ear will develop. All right, there's the G part, and there's the C part. Okay, so let me stop that because I want to do the exact same thing over a C shape. So all we have to do, since we're using the same chord voicing in just a different spot on the 8th fret here now, which is the C, we can do the same arpeggio starting on a C. And then we can still take that farther down the line. The nice thing about this is it's going to take us into a scale shape. So aside from just learning kind of like licks and arpeggios, you can also incorporate scale stuff into like a loop pedal practice session. And if you've watched a lot of the other videos, you'll know that there's only one key that diatonically has a G major 7 and a C major 7 chord voicing in there. That's the 1 chord and the 4 chord in the key of G. So then you kind of take that one step farther. The minor scale, which everybody kind of like loves to solo in, the minor scale that occurs in the key of G, its relative minor is E. All right, so the 12th fret. You can do minor pentatonic, or you can just do like a full-on minor scale thing like that. But the nice thing about this position, and the nice thing about these arpeggios or licks in this kind of context, is it leads you right into the scale shape. So we have a G arpeggio lick that kind of takes us from here. We can do the next octave up, and then that kind of brings us to the C part, which takes us the next octave up. And then we end up on the G note, on the G string, the 12th fret, which is really kind of like prime minor pentatonic or minor scale kind of territory. So this is kind of like a good exercise that will lead you all over the fretboard. So again, if we have the whole thing playing again, we got that G 2 times, and then to the C. We can start over again on really any kind of part in here. We can start with that G major arpeggio. C. Pentatonic. So again, it's just kind of like a good way to start kind of exploring all through the fretboard. And it's really not, it's not flashy. It's not difficult at all. Play it at whatever speed you want. The nice thing about this kind of smooth lick is it sounds good slow. It sounds good when you kind of speed it up and kind of put a little more hot sauce on it. And it really works in kind of like any spot, right? So that's why this is becoming the new lick, by the way. It's being birthed right here before your very eyes. And anything that leads you into a minor pentatonic thing is kind of really like the secret sauce to any guitar playing. Because again, we're starting on the root note of what the loop is. We're climbing all throughout the neck in different kind of ways, ending in minor pentatonic, and then really just kind of finish off whatever you're doing with the root note in the minor pentatonic scale, which is always going to be kind of like your pointer finger in that minor pentatonic position on the G string, right? That's the money shot of any kind of guitar lead thing, even if you're bluesing it or whatever, right? So just a couple different ideas on how to maybe start experimenting with looper pedal. I think looper pedal is the #1 most important tool that you can have as any kind of musician. So if you want to see more looper pedal videos or just kind of more ideas, let me know in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.